Perhaps, Hugo, you could just quickly introduce yourself and tell us a bit about Surfers Against Sewage, which is an amazing charity.
Absolutely. Well, look, thanks for having me here today. And yeah, I'm very proud to run Surfers Against Sewage from Cornwall, we're your neighbours, of course. We're much more than just surfers and just sewage these days, although water quality is still one of our priority campaigns and is to the forefront of public and political consciousness recently, not least because of the work that we've done with you. We're a small team here, a team of 27. We've got 220 regional reps around the country. We mobilise about 100,000 volunteers a year, and we project all of their sort of voices and concerns on a range of issues through an all-party parliamentary group that we help run called the Ocean Conservation All-Party Parliamentary Group. And we work on plastic pollution issues, of course, water quality, marine restoration, and ocean and climate at the moment. So quite a big portfolio, a growing portfolio. I'm really proud to see how our campaigns and our collaborative work is helping drive the new wave of action on water quality and the need to continue action. So it's been fantastic to collaborate with you, Will, and the team at ECHH.
Yeah, I mean, particularly your work around engaging with the Environment Agency and the water industry and government has really led the way in sort of ensuring that we have clean and safe coastal waters to enjoy. So maybe, Hugo, you could tell us a little bit about how our sort of partnership developed and what it's been like working with particularly Anne Leonard, of course, who, as I say, can't be with us today, but working on the beach bum survey, which has had so much policy traction.
Yeah, well, look, it's always a great pleasure to work with your team, and Anne was brilliant to work with directly. The collaboration means a lot to us, and I think we're very complementary, organisations, and we have very complementary approaches. Your team helps us ask the sort of bigger questions about water quality, human health, and how we can call for even more ambitious and sort of realistic interventions supported by the latest science. And that's what's important to us. Whilst we're a sort of a fun and engaging organisation, everything we do needs to be rooted in the latest data, the latest science. If it's not, we will never have the sort of campaign successes that you've just described. And we need to make sure that we always follow that route. So we developed a really close rapport over the course of the Beach Bums survey, a pretty challenging study to sort of carry out together. I think it was a first for asking our volunteers to give rectal swabs as part of any study we've done. So in a way, the combination of really great emerging science on one of the biggest issues of our time, and quite a humorous approach at some stages, with a really active and passionate group of water users that were engaged with us for various reasons, whether they were surfers, swimmers, kayakers, or just holiday makers, was a potent combination to help drive this project together. And it was fun along the way. A few hurdles and challenges, but fun, and I'm so pleased to see the outcomes.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, I think it's been a really fruitful collaboration, because we couldn't have done what we did without you. And of course, I should mention that also that Ruth Garside was really part of this team that's led this forward. And I've got a feeling she might be partially responsible for the Beach Bum title, which of course enabled us to have, I think, because it was sort of humorous, we had huge media traction around the globe, and not least in part due to Surfers Against Sewage incredible social media reach. I think when we put out the original press release to recruit those people, it had a theoretical reach of 1 billion people, and it was taken up by 50 different media outlets globally, which was, I think, mainly due to your social media networks.
Yeah, I think it was a potent combination of issue, a great title, which captured the media's attention, and a really exciting piece of citizen science. And our supporters, those people that we engage with through social media, through all of the digital channels we use, through the sort of the careful wording and scripting of press releases, it was such a potent combination. It was always going to open doors. It followed pretty much the sort of modus operandi that we always like to use. I think it hit all of the right marks, and to reach 1 billion people, or theoretically 1 billion people, was a big part of driving that new narrative. And all of the places that the study's been now cited, and all of the places it's referenced is also supported by that massive piece of public engagement. Because this is something, of course, the public needs to understand more, still probably doesn't understand very much. And the more that they're engaged with it, the more that we can take considered and reasonable sort of action to call for change.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the previous little presentation, that study has been cited in the UK 5-year AMR strategy, which is the most important piece of policy work around AMR in the country. And we lead the world in terms of AMR policy, because Dame Sally Davies has been driving this agenda, so successfully over recent years. Maybe I could just move on to say, did you find any sort of surprises from working with us as academics? Any pleasant or even unpleasant surprises of how it all works?
Yeah, nothing sort of unpleasant. Of course, the gearing of a campaigning organisation and a scientific organisation always takes a bit of working to make sure they mesh and get the right things at the right time. And I think the way that we built the relationship, the way we communicated together, and the sort of closeness of the team, and even the sort of physical proximity of being around the corner from each other, really helped us deliver that. There were no sort of nasty surprises. I think we addressed challenges together. There was a challenge to get the level of volunteers we had mapped out, just because of the intimacy of the request, but we came together to get over those hurdles. So it was good, and actually the best projects are often always the most challenging ones. So I found it really rewarding, and I know the team did, particularly now that we see what a big impact it's had and continues to have.
Great. Right, we've got a couple of minutes left, I think. So is there anything that you can say that you can attribute to that it's led to, anything that's moved on? I mean, it's actually quite timely today, because we've just submitted a grant proposal to the Joint Programming Initiative on Antimicrobial Resistance that you are a named and funded partner on, and that was actually submitted last night, even though there was a world Teams outage. So I was phoning Germany and Ireland at 11 o'clock last night because Teams had stopped working and our grant proposal was locked in the ether. But
well, look, I would say, look, I think, if we looked at the successes of the 1990s, which SS was part of in cleaning up coastal water quality, I would consider that the sort of first wave of tackling sewage and water quality issues. Of course, after that investment, we're now in this sort of second wave of water quality issues on our rivers, still on our coastline, particularly with the number of people that are now using the water for recreation, not just surfers, but inland, open water swimmers, wild swimmers, kayakers, stand-up paddleboarding. There's an explosion of this participation. And so our blue space have become even more important. The work we've done with you, the work we do through the Safer Seas service, which will become the Safer Seas and Rivers service, has really sort of helped lead the way on engaging the public with this and pushing for the next wave of investment. So we still have a lot to do on coastal water quality. We've seen record levels of political engagement thanks to our studies, thanks to the Safer Sea Service over the past 12, 18 months. And now we've got new calls. We want to see this next decade, this ocean decade, really committed to delivering the next wave of progress. on water quality, but also our rivers, which they're not separate from our ocean. We need to see much more action on our rivers, where we see so many problems with combined sewer overflows and diffuse pollution from farming and agriculture. So for me, I think this decade should look back to the 90s and say we want to achieve the same level of impact for our rivers and our coastline as we did in the 1990s initially. This is the second wave, and together we'll be much stronger. So collaboration will be key to solving all these issues across this key decade.
Thank you very much, Hugo. That was great.